you. Welcome, everyone. And Lord Business is Josh Eisenhower, who is the engineer, who is working on this fantastic design to repair the porch under the Bordner Cabin. We met and he went over it with me, and I made lots of notes. So he's here to clarify and answer questions. And Nikolai, who is that one? Let's see who this is. And Mike Adams is on our board. Mary, let's see. Oh, it's Bethany. Now you have a different name too, Nikolai. Okay. I wasn't sure who that was. You must be on a different computer.
My sons.
That answers it.
Here, okay. I can rename myself.
That's all right. I said we have a Lord Business and Nikolai names I don't recognize. So again, I'll start over with the introductions. Lord Business, why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure. Again, I apologize for the name. I'm still trying to figure out how to change it. So yeah, my name is Josh Eisenhower. I'm a structural engineer, and I've been working with Joellen in terms of coming up with a repair for the porch that got undermined from the floods of, I believe, 2017. I think that happened.
Or 2018.
2017 or 18.
17, 18, yeah. Somewhere in there.
Yeah. So I've been developing a solution to underpin the foundation, and also in addition to underpinning the foundation, we have to repair the stream bed so we don't cause any additional damage to the stream bed downstream or to the building itself.
Mm-hmm.
And can you explain that we might be able to do this in 2 steps?
Yeah, we could do it in 2 steps. The first one would be to underpin the foundation with the shotcrete that I've shown on the plan, and then we could provide some temporary protection of the foundation until we can repair the stream bed. Really, in repairing the stream bed, that would be then step 2. That is we're basically just filling in the stream bed and bringing it back up to its original level.
And the advantage of that is that with low water and a warm climate, we could get that shotcrete in there so we don't get into the frost in the fall or whatever. And the stream bed could probably be done a little bit later. Is that correct? If we had to.
Yeah, but we would still have to put in some temporary protection and measures around the foundation. Yes. The shotcrete can be done. It would have to be dry to get the shotcrete in there, but the temperature, as long as we're above consistently 40 degrees, you can do the shotcrete. That's really the only limiting. The only 2 limiting factors there are the temperature and the dampness.
And can you tell us? I was wondering, what is the timeline for getting the bids and getting the revised drawing?
Yeah, so I have the plans are sent out to a few contractors that I work with, and I would feel comfortable performing the work. I'll have to reach out to them and get an answer for the time frame of receiving those bids.
Okay, if you don't mind getting that back to me so we can make some plans. And again, we have to get that drawing up through DCNR to get it approved. So
when we met last week, that was one of the tasks that I have to do is put the narrative on there and then get that back to you so we can get at least that moving through DCNR at the same time we're doing the bids.
And what kind of a time frame on the drawing?
I'll work on that here this week, and I'll get that out to you probably Friday. The narrative isn't much to do.
Okay, that would be fantastic. Does anyone have any questions? Again, I was the only one meeting with him, and I thought if you had questions, you could ask him directly.
Well, I have a comment and a question, actually.
Sure.
My comment is that when we had worked on the cabin some years ago, when Mike Williman was out there, we diverted the stream so we could get in underneath the cabin to work on it. And when they were done doing that work, they diverted the stream with that large black coiled ribbed plastic pipe. And I have several large coils of that stored in my warehouse.
Along with the sandbags.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Along with the drain pipe, that coiled, flexible, black rib drain pipe, along with that, there's quite a few very large, very heavy sandbags. So if you need to divert the stream to do what you intend to do, I have that all stored in my warehouse in Lebanon City there. All you'd have to do is contact me, and I could see that I could deliver it to you somewhere where, you know, if you need that kind of stuff. And my question was simply, this shotcrete that you're talking about, is what is also sometimes referred to as gunite?
Incorrectly, yes, it is referred to as gunite. They're actually two different things. Shotcrete is a very low slump concrete that is mixed in the truck. It goes into a hopper and then is shot through a gun. Gunite is like shotcrete is used quite a bit for underpinning foundations. Gunite is it comes in, the concrete comes two separate materials, and is pumped into a gun and then mixed at the gun with water and then shot onto like a pool, for example. A lot of pools are gunite, like concrete pools. I'm not a big fan of gunite. We don't have great control and accuracy over the concrete mix, which is important for foundations. So I would definitely not recommend gunite for this application. Shotcrete.
Yeah, I was just wondering if the two were one and the same, but apparently they're not.
Yeah, they're not. It's like I said, they're oftentimes incorrectly referred to as the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to circle back to the materials that you have on hand in storage. I think, you know, it's great that you have those, and I think we can definitely use them. I think in terms of acquiring the bids, we should see what the numbers come in at first, and then offer those up as, you know, and maybe get a credit for those things. Does that make sense?
Sounds good.
If and when you need that, all you need to do is contact me through Joellen has my contact information.
All right. Well, thank you. And Josh, is there any other question?
I don't have any other questions.
Okay. Then Josh, you're welcome to stay for the whole meeting, but if you are tied to a schedule, we understand if you have to leave, and we really appreciate you taking the time to update the board, and we look forward to the plan, revised plan, so we can get that through DCNR.
Sure. Yep, I will get that out to you. I'll stick around. I'll just put it on mute and kind of have it in the background. If you need me, just shout.
That'd be great. Thank you. So the first thing on the agenda, actually, I just wanted to have courtesy there because I know he's doing all of our design work and stuff pro bono. I got a pink shirt with our logo on, and on the back, it says, it might be backwards, I don't know, I paddled the Swatara Creek. And this was done by the young lady over at the Lebanon Valley Mall. We set up a page where you can purchase apparel. You can get anything from muscle shirts. I have a short sleeve. They have long sleeve. They have hoodies. And this is a waterproof bag that she did for us. And you roll this down at the top, and then you bring it around. There's like, I don't know, something in there. It's stiff, maybe a flexible piece of metal. And it snaps, and that makes it waterproof. There's a strap, so you can put it over your body while you're paddling on your front or your back, that if you flip, it doesn't go away, it's with you, etc. So you can keep phones, lunches, whatever in it to keep it dry. So these are all on our website, and I think I provided a link, and I wanted to make sure I showed some samples of her work to get her started, I ordered 2 items, but there's other things to pick from as well. We're supposed to get a 15% donation like every 6 months, depending if people order things or not. And you can pick it up in the store, or there's an option to have it sent to you directly at your home if you want to pay for shipping. So we already talked with Mike about the Bordner Cabin. But the other things I wanted to mention was this is an original spoke from the Bordner Cabin, one that it has some rot, but you can see there's a flat spot that we could get the right length. And so after years of trying to get someone to handcraft this, we couldn't. This is oval, it's not perfectly round, and that's why turning it on a lathe is really awkward. And so this was originally a whole spindle for a like a railing, and I cut off, was like this. I cut that off, and now you can see I have marked, I'm going to cut this off, and I will be left with this. So I have one here that this is cut to the right size, and with a small chisel, I have one here, someone, yeah, like this. All right. My husband showed me how to get this smooth like this, and then with a saw and chisel to get this down here. And then this matches, as you can see, the old piece. And it's misleading that it's a little longer, so I can cut it short. I don't want to be too short. But just with a simple hand tool, this comes down because there was already that width. It was just knocking off the bubble on the end of it. And these will do. Now they're a little fancier, and we'll have to replace them all, but they're all pretty bad and there's a lot missing. So the way it is now, it looks terrible and it's not functional to keep kids from, you know, going off. That's a steep drop there. So we want to do something to get that done. And so I thought, well, I don't know that it'll get finished on Day of Caring, but we can start it. And Rotary has a wheel as their logo. So I'm trying to get the Rotary Club involved in helping to make those pieces and put them on. So that's in the works. Of course, we'll sweep, and there's 2 picnic tables there. And so the other thing I did was we talked about getting a brand. The stickers didn't work. So this is like brass or something. I don't know what it is exactly, but it's metal. And the other thing I had to get was a kit. It's a cylinder of propane, and this is an automatic start. It's really slick. So you push this in and push this down, and the flames come out, and you heat it on all sides. And anyhow, I went and did all the tables at the Watershed Park, so that if they float downstream, we know there are tables. And then also using the edges, I was able to make block numbers. Like a 1, of course, would just be straight, but a 2, I might use the short edge and go make like this, and it's more of a Z than a 2, but it's a 2. And then the 3, you know, I just kept going with blocks. So I used this to number all the tables. So if they wash downstream, Bethany and Mike, I think, retrieved 4 this spring. So then we'll know which campsite it goes back into. Something we should have done a long time ago. And I know that this is getting into another area, but I wanted to show you that what I got, and it seemed to work really well. So when you're out there, take a look at it. And also, well, let me finish, I guess, on the Bordner Cabin. We'll get to the other one. Oh, I also got primer, and to get an oil-based paint, so it's more like the Red Barn paint that it holds up, I had to get the Rust-Oleum, which is also used on wood. And so that will have people on Day of Caring priming and then letting it dry and then painting the different spindles. We talked to Josh, and I think that's my report on the Bordner Cabin. So now we are at the Conservation District and Mary Kate Gallagher, and she had sent an invitation, and I thought I would ask her to explain that and see if you have any questions for her. Mary Kate, the floor is yours.
So, my original email was just sending an invitation. We recently added a watershed action team to our CAP action team, or our CAP overall team. I'm not sure how familiar you all are with the Countywide action plan, so I do have a little short intro to what it is. So basically, the Lebanon County Countywide action team, our action plan, is a dynamic and adaptive plan summarizing approaches and tracking implementation efforts for local water quality improvements. The plan is aspirational but realistic. So that's kind of our little blurb that's on our website. But kind of going into that, within the action plan, we needed to create kind of a team to make sure that the plan gets implemented correctly and goes smoothly and everything is coordinated across the county. So I do have an organizational chart that I can send you, Joan, if you want to share with the team, that kind of maps things out easier. I'm not sure if I can share my screen.
I'm not sure either, because it's a free service. Let me just see if there's anything here that says share screen.
I have a button, but I'm not sure if it'll.
You have to make her a
Yeah.
whatever it is, the
Closed caption, reactions, recording, share screen. Here it is.
yeah.
Oh, that's for me
that'll
to share the screen.
You'll have to make her a, I don't know, what do they call it?
An admin or something.
Or something like that.
Okay,
and then
that's
she should
fine.
be
If
able to-
it's okay. I can just send it to you to distribute to the team. But we basically have 5 active action teams and 1 action, and the stormwater action team is still active, but it's not as active just because of the first year implementation plan. Our CAP identified that our county is very ag heavy when it comes to our needs for reductions. And so we have an agriculture action team, which is kind of spearheading ag BMPs and projects within there. And then we have a data management and monitoring action team, which is kind of aligning all of the data management and platforms throughout the county and kind of making it more cohesive and more transparent for everybody and more user-friendly to see what exactly is going on in the county across the sectors, not just within like whatever sector you are in. So including stormwater, watershed, overall, and ag. And then we have the education and outreach action team, which is kind of just in charge of outreach and education throughout the county, educating people on the countywide action plan, and the WIP, which is the statewide action plan, and then legislative and policy changes action team, which is in charge of, just talking to legislators about, possible policy changes that the other action teams might have brought up to us, so that if there are, policies that just don't seem to make sense, we can maybe try to get some changes and improve those. The final action team is the watershed action team, which was just formed, and that's kind of what my email was about. It is to focus on to focus on developing plans and coordinating efforts amongst the groups within the county to facilitate and support collaborative watershed-based restoration efforts that kind of complement our ag projects that are going in for implementation. So through the CAP, we do have an implementation fund for the first year, and then every year after that, they kind of continue to grant us money as we show reductions. So obviously more reductions means more money. So our focus is to implement these projects to show DEP and the Chesapeake Bay office that we are creating the reductions through the CAP, like through the Clean Water Action Plan. And part of my job is coordinating all those efforts throughout the county, that each watershed organization or the Stormwater Consortium, all they're doing is, we found that there's a lot of work being done. It's just not well known to everybody, and it's not quite coordinated. So that's kind of what my job is. But the focus for the work group, for the action team for Watershed, which we're thinking about renaming just because it's a little broad, since the entire thing is kind of a watershed effort. But their focus is wetland restoration, riparian buffers, and stream restoration projects.
Would our Bordner Cabin stream restoration qualify?
Yes, absolutely. So that's why I wanted to reach out, because I know that your group is doing a lot of amazing work in creating.
Yeah, Bethany's planting trees. We all help, but yeah, we're doing a lot.
And so part of creating this team, it's not a big commitment. It's just one monthly meeting, just to kind of get everyone together and coordinate those efforts, and create that transparency across the groups, so that if like the Quiddy Watershed group is doing something that might complement another group's project, you can kind of have that that coordination and that teamwork and all that. But also, we do have implementation funds that we want to put towards wetland restoration, stream restoration, riparian buffers. We also have a lot of grant opportunities through this that we can help you fund your projects if you need funding. We have other resources through DP and Chesapeake Bay office that we have to offer you as well to support your efforts that you're already doing. So we have right under 100,000 this year for this specific watershed groups projects to help assist funding. So a lot of our funding went towards the ag, just because we are an ag heavy county, and that's where we saw the heavy lift was. But we did still allocate some funds towards watershed, wetland, stream, riparian buffers, stuff like that. Hopefully, our hope is next year we'll be granted more money so we can do more projects within all the sectors. And
does this money basically come from stormwater runoff fees that are being charged in municipalities?
So this is separate of that. I know the stormwater groups have their fees, and that's how they get their funding, and that's kind of why we're focusing our funding on ag and more of the stream restoration, riparian buffers and stuff that don't really get that funding from the stormwater fees. And so our funding is actually separate. It's from DEP and from the state.
Okay.
Through the CAP. It's through the CAP implementation funding grant.
This sounds exactly what Mike and I were talking about not too long ago. We were actually discussing about trying to get all the local groups, coordinated in some way, or at least aware of the work everybody else was doing, so you could, form that web. So that sounds awesome.
Yeah, so that's kind of what my job was created for, is that, when they developed the CAP, they did identify that there was a lot of efforts in Lebanon, and that was kind of, our strong suit, is that we do have a lot going on. It's just a matter of getting everybody kind of on the same page and
optimizing it.
Yeah.
Do you think you could send us a schedule of meetings, so between Bethany and I, we can work out is it okay if we alternate if that's necessary?
Yeah, that's absolutely
fine. Because I know
fine.
she said she gets busy in the summer, and so sometimes I might be able to do it and sometimes her.
Yeah, right now.
Or even Mike if we have to,
Yeah, right now we haven't set a reoccurring, it will be a reoccurring date and time every month. Like right now, our agriculture action team meets the first Tuesday of the month at 11. So it will be a set date and time. It won't be variable, but right now we have our kickoff team meeting. So I have a poll for that, just because I don't want to just set a date and time. I wanted to try and find one that works for the majority of the group. So I can send you the link for the poll. And then after that meeting, I'll kind of get everyone's input, what day of the week works best for them, what time of the month. We'll try to do it earlier in the month, within the first couple weeks or so. But obviously, we want the majority of the group to be there. So whatever works best for the group is.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, Jack.
My name is Jack Stauffer. I've been a member of the Watershed since the 1980s, 90s. I've lost track of time. But anyway, I was fairly active with stream bed restoration and things like that with the people from the ag out at the Expo Center until I retired in 2011, and I kind of lost a little bit of contact with it. And my real question is, I'm now legally blind. Would I be of any help, or would I be in the way?
No, of course you'd be of great help. I mean, during these meetings, it's just mostly discussion, and any information or input that you have is obviously very valuable to us, especially with all of your experience and your years in the field and everything. So I don't believe that you will be in the way in any way, shape, or form. So I think if you would like to attend, it would be very
That is my one concern, because being legally blind, I can inadvertently be in the way very easily.
Yeah,
I don't want to do that, but I've helped with a number of stream bed restorations over the last 15, 20 years, something like that. And I know at my age, I can't do what I did then. But I also know if we've got people who get discouraged, I can coach them, encourage them, stuff like that anyway.
Yeah,
Thank you,
absolutely.
Jack. And we have 8 minutes left on this particular link, and I did send 2. So I think we're going to get through Mary Kate's presentation, and then we can finish the business meeting on the second link. But does anyone else have a question for Mary Kate?
Hey, Mary Kate.
Hi.
Hi. I'm Mike. I actually just got invited over the last month and a half or so, and I'm sitting in on a bunch of meetings for an ecological gardening guild. And basically that's also one of their purposes, is to try to unite all these groups. So I was, with your permission, I was going to reach out to the coordinator of that group and give them your contact information. So that way, maybe you want to talk to them and see if, their ideas line up with what you're involved in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
I think
Thank
that
you.
as a point of history, just because we don't meet doesn't mean we don't communicate. We have worked in cooperation with Trout Unlimited, Quidabahilla Watershed Association, the Lebanon Valley Conservancy, the Manatee Conservancy. As each group has projects and things, we inform each other. And so we have consistently, throughout the over 30 years I've been involved, worked with other watershed groups. The Little Swatara is another one. In fact, we helped mentor and get many of these groups started till they got on their feet. So I don't want our newer members to think that that has been ignored in the past. We used to have meetings, but it became a real drain to have meetings all the time just for the sake of meetings. We'd rather be getting the projects done. So we did the watershed, the Swatara Rivers Conservation Plan. We just completed another plan with the Audubon Society and Keystone National, I forget what it is, Keystone something. But I mean, all of this brings them together. We brought in the planning department, we brought in the conservation district, we brought in the tourism bureau. So this is something we do consistently. So while it may seem new, it is just an ongoing process of what we have done over these many decades, actually. It's just getting a new boost. So, and especially if there's some money, because before there was no support with financial, and like I said, it became a real drain, all the extra meetings. So if indeed Mary Kate can help us out with the stream restoration at the Bordner Cabin, wow, that would be huge, because we don't know where we're going to get the funding for that. We don't know what the bids are going to come in at. And that's why I thought maybe we could start with the underneath the porch, get that done. And then if it takes longer to get the approval for the stream restoration, then we have a little time to work with you on that. You can help us arrange matching funds and things.
Yeah.
Mary Kate, do you know if Dauphin County has a similar group happening too? I mean,
yes, I believe they are I want to say they're tier 3.
Yeah,
we're tier 2.
Yeah, I know they're not as high.
Yeah, I think they're tier
priority in the whip.
3, I believe. Yeah, they're tier 3, which means that they're currently in the planning process of making their cap. So they'll be in the planning stage this year, and then they'll be in the implementation stage next year, which is what we did last year and now this year.
Right. I know it's easy for my brain anyway, because I'm in Lebanon County to concentrate just on Lebanon County, but I'm
Yeah.
like, the association, obviously we cover
Yeah, well, we're definitely
Dauphin too, so.
we're definitely open to partnering with Dauphin County as well. That is something that DEP and the Chesapeake Bay office has definitely stressed to us, is that partnerships are very crucial to making this plan work overall. So even though they are kind of, behind us in the process, we're still open to partnering with them in any way we can. And I'm definitely going to probably be in touch with Dauphin County, since we're kind of, I was in touch with the tier 1 counties when I was in them.
I think
Gotcha.
partnerships are good. We just don't want to get swallowed up by a larger county, because we do have projects that we can get done here as well.
Mhm.
So keep us in mind that we don't get, pushed to the side.
Yeah, my focus is Lebanon County, because that's where I'm the coordinator of.
Okay.
So I definitely will keep focus on Lebanon County, but we are trying to also partner with other counties, just because funding, can be easier when you have multiple counties.
Right.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I know when you first contacted me, I thought you were part of that stormwater action team. And there's some wheel spinning going on, and we tried to be included in that from the get-go, and we were kind of pushed aside, and they just wanted the municipalities. So I didn't understand why now we were being asked. But I'm so glad that you came on. I feel much better about this whole thing, and it makes a whole lot more sense. What I read didn't quite click, so
Yeah,
thank
and I
you.
apologize for that. I wish I could have given you a better, a clearer visual of what we were doing in my original email, but I'm glad that I was able to clear that up today.
Yeah, I'm so thankful. It sounds like a very promising partnership. And so let's see, I have 2 minutes and 48 seconds left. So maybe I can do one more quick thing, and then we'll go to the second link. We had talked about going on a tour of the Suez Water Company, because it got changed hands from Middletown, or a water company. And I had met a vice president at the Rotary Golf Club last year. And so I contacted the address. He gave me the email, but never got a response. So I reached out again. I don't know, somehow I got a communication. I said, hey, we'd really like to tour your facility and see what it's all about. We've been through the Lebanon Water Authority. We can do it again because we have newer members, but we've been through American Water Company. And we've never been to the Suez. So I have no idea what their operation is like. So I thought that would be kind of a fun tour, and others had agreed. Anyhow, there's communication started again. And so maybe one of the future meetings, especially Mike and Bethany, how are you doing with, are you looking to get registered for the vaccination when it comes available?
I've had my first one already.
Woohoo! Okay, how about you, Mike?
Same.
You had one already too?
Yep.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so till the next meeting, we should be set to go live, that we don't have to do the Zoom all the time, and then it'll be much easier in person. Okay. Woohoo! Okay. At any rate, then also I'm thinking Suez would be more open to tours, where with the pandemic, that was another reason probably the vice president didn't get back to me. So I'm looking forward to that. And Fred, when we come back in, I'm going to talk about Nick Kristen and Swatara Falls. And can you just tell me, you were going to connect them with Berks County? Did you?
I have not heard anything from that outfit. That it's from Berks County Conservation District,
Yeah.
and they're working on the Upper Little Swatara. And other than that initial email or two and that Zoom meeting, which I couldn't join into for some reason, I have not heard from them in over probably, I guess it's a month now. I have not gotten anything, any updates or anything. So I have nothing to report on that.
Okay, well, that makes it short and sweet. I just put some information in the agenda so you know what his ask is. And he'd like to see around Swatara Falls preserved. I said, have you asked the owner of the property for an easement? And so I can't disagree with him that that area should be preserved. He said there's a lot of negative things going on around it. So I told him about trying to get an easement hello, and working with the conservation district and the county, those kinds of things. Welcome back, Mike. So I don't know if that'll get anywhere, but I'm glad he made us aware of it. So if there are opportunities to partner with the Schuylkill Conservation District and the Upper Little Swatara, one of the fellows that runs the trout hatchery is on our list. And we used to have other representatives from Schuylkill County, but we're down to one. We hear from him occasionally. So we'll just keep that on the radar and see if anything else comes out of it.
Joellen,
Yes.
I'm a little bit confused here. When you're referring to Swatara Falls, exactly to what are you referring?
That is in Schuylkill County, and it is the headwaters to the Swatara Creek. The water comes out of the ground and it creates a falls.
Oh, okay.
It's
Up
a
on the
very
north.
popular hiking destination.
Oh, okay. That would be on the north side of the Kittatinny Ridge, then, up in Schuylkill County.
Well, I don't know if it's in Schuylkill County, yes.
Yeah, because the other side of the Kittatinny Ridge on the southern flank, that's in Bethel Township, Berks County there where
That goes into the Delaware.
No, that the headwaters of the Little Swatara Creek are actually in Bethel Township, Berks County.
Oh.
And that's where this program is designed to be involved by the Berks County Conservation District.
Now I understand why you wanted to hook them up.
I don't know if their grant money extends to the other side of the Kinney Ridge, the northern exposure, because that's in Schuylkill County. So I think what I'm going to do is try to dig up that email and contact that guy and see if there have been any or what has taken place, if anything. And hopefully by the next meeting, I'll be able to report what it is they are, their initial activity, what's going on, if anything.
Okay. Well, thank you. Let us know if you find anything out.
Yeah.
Then at the Watershed Park, Bethany, the rock star of organizing a tree planting, has done a spectacular job. Bethany, give everybody an update.
All right. Well, the trees are in. I think our total number was about 435. So that went, I don't know, as best as it could have gone, I think, with the number of people we had. Went very quickly. Turnout. Yeah, I think what Joellen, what'd you say? Around 50 people, I think you said we have.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know what else to say about it as far as that goes.
We have had everybody sign in on the sheet, so I was able to count. And then each person also completed a liability release. And I was like the taskmaster to make sure everybody did that. That was my contribution in taking the photographs, and I brought the snacks, but Bethany did all the organizing and the hard work, she was amazing. And we were able to videotape her giving instructions to the group, and lots of great pictures, and they're on our Facebook page, both of them, if you'd care to see them.
Yeah, I'd say you got a lot of good pictures.
Yeah, thank you. Talk about the time frame when we should start seeing the results.
All right. I mean, right now, if you go and look, we should start seeing some of the plants starting to leaf out. In the slower growing trees like the oaks and stuff, they're going to be a couple years before they get out of the tubes, probably. The other ones, though, some of the more shrubbier ones should be out, pretty quickly, and we should be seeing those fairly decent size in the next 2 years or so, especially with that soil, as long as we get decent rain and not a lot of flooding. We should be seeing those types of things out pretty quickly, with some of the other stuff coming in a little behind it. The The tubes will stay on, especially the tree ones, probably up to 5 years or so. Because even when the trees are out of them, they act as good protection from deer rub. And weed whacking, whatever, we need to do in there.
And deer nibbling.
And deer nibbling, yes. Well, that's what I'm hoping, the deer pressure. I use those smaller tubes for the bushes. I'm hoping we don't end up with 2-foot tall lollipops, where they grow up to the top and then they just keep nibbling them off. I'm hoping there's enough other food sources around there that they don't go after those too badly.
Are the tubes reusable?
They are, to an extent. The tubes, if the trunk of the tree gets too big around for the tubes, you can slice them, or they're made to split automatic or by themselves, but it's better to go ahead and slice them because you can get moisture buildup between the trunks and the tube, and you can get bugs and stuff in there. So better if you slice them. And then if you have the deer pressure, if you don't have deer pressure, you can take them off. If you do have like the rub pressure, then you keep them on and it'll continue to protect the tree. Otherwise, you can take them off once the tree's out of the tube and big enough to support itself and everything. But the smaller ones will come off sooner, and they can definitely be. They're really there more for vole protection and for like weed whacking and stuff. They're not going to protect for the as far as the deer goes, but they're also shrubbery or bushes that deer aren't going to probably rub as much or aren't going to be damaged as much by a buck rub. So.
I got to tell you, I didn't know there were so many kinds of dogwood. I'm like, I looked at your list. I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought dogwood was a dogwood,
Yeah,
and you have gray ones and yellow ones. I don't know. There was lots of
gray silky and red osier, I think, are the ones we put in, and they're all a shrubbier type of dogwood. So, and those are like I think I said are all ones that can be then used for live stake cutting. So once they grow up, we can come in and trim them and take some of those live stakes and plant them directly into the bank to help further stabilize the stream bank itself, like down at the water level or right above the water level. So that's kind of my future live stake, nursery.
I didn't see redbud on the list. I thought you said you were going to plant redbud. No?
I don't think they were available.
Oh, bummer. I really like those.
They can be, I don't know. I have to look. They weren't on the list though, so I have to go with my problem was I got in late, so I only had certain things I could choose from, and I had to go with what the best things for that area and from what I could choose from. So
I noticed a ladder in the bank. I think it was near the water monitoring station. Is that from them, or is that our ladder? Or
I want to say it's a camper's ladder. It's been there all summer. I think it's a camper's ladder they used to get in and out.
Oh, it doesn't look like it's anchored tied fast, and I'm thinking it could wash away.
I mean, it survived the last flood because it was there in last summer. So,
okay.
So it must be done one way or another.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. Okay. I just thought I'd ask about that. And then on the lawn mowing class, on 4/10 at 10 o'clock. Did you notify the names of the people I sent you names of?
No, I never did. I wasn't sure. I need to.
Would you do that this week?
Yeah.
Make sure they know. Steve Novacell is willing to come and do that. Tom was a little hesitant, so Steve offered to bring the batteries in and do the class, so to speak. So he did a swell job, but we'll still need Tom to give instructions on the well testing.
Yeah.
If he does it that day or another day, but
yeah, I mean, I can, if he just wants to do it I can meet him whenever. It doesn't have to be a formal.
Okay. If you want to do it that way, that's fine. But I had it on the list so I wouldn't forget it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you contact the group, I know Eddie Gruber is one that said he'd help alternate. And I don't know if you want them to sign up for a month at a time or constantly rotating weeks.
Yeah, we'll work it out with them and see what they think. I mean, with vacations and stuff, it might be easier just to do weeks or whatever. Do a sign up sheet and have people sign up for whatever weeks or something. I'll figure something out.
That's a good point. Yeah. Okay. We talked about the tables being branded. Oh yeah. of course, the campsites are numbered 1 to 35. Under the pavilion, I made it alphabet, so we know that it goes there, because in 2011, those tables wanted to float away, and I had to tie them to the posts at the pavilion. So, you know, I have a video of a guy that was in a canoe. I don't know what he was doing there, but he was there till it was like, I don't know, really high and fast. It was crazy. But when I was going, I went A, B, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. So I skipped C. So I'm sorry, just so you know. I'm not the only one that knows that C is
So we're
not
not
missing.
not wildly looking for the C table somewhere.
C is not missing. It just simply, now if we get another one for under there, but there are 2 under the pavilion that were donated for campsites. So one has an umbrella hole in the middle. That came from my mother-in-law's when she died last year. Oh no, it was this year she died. Well, I can't remember. I'm sorry. Anyhow, during the pandemic, she died. And when we were cleaning up, there was this good picnic table in the back. I said, I want that. And Steve Novosel actually helped me get it out to the watershed. I didn't need it in a campsite, but it's there. So I labeled that one for a campsite, I think 29. And then the one on the other end is one that Tom donated. And that one goes to 15. But I had the numbers on them, so you'll know where they go. And if she has enough help they have carrying, maybe she can get help to move them. If not, well, we'll have to do that another day. And then Tom did pay for 2 tables. And quite frankly, when I went through numbering them, we have 3 campsites where I need tables if everyone comes back. And I won't be moving the tables around because they're numbered for the campsite. It's logical. So the one is paid for, but I'd like permission to buy 3, if not 4 more tables, because there's another gentleman looking to choose a campsite. And I can't believe how popular it's becoming, but with the pandemic, people really appreciate the camping. So I thought I would ask the campers, if you get a new table, if I get the kit, are you willing to put it together? And hopefully, that's Jack coming in. Hopefully they'll cooperate and help put the tables together. They, you know, give them something to do when they're out there. And I wondered if I had permission to do that. Fred?
If you need any tables which are already put together, or kits of tables, if you need them picked up and transported out to the watershed, just let me know, and I can easily use my utility trailer, the one I use to haul the dock down, you know, from the Poconos.
You're very generous.
Just contact me if you need tables moved, or you know, a do-it-yourself kit for a table picked up and delivered out there. Just let me know.
Okay.
My schedule's pretty flexible, and I can do that. If the campers are not able or willing to assemble them, also please let me know, and I will be very happy to assemble the table if there's, you know, from a kit if necessary.
Wow, that's so generous. Thank you, Fred. Well, let me, if first of all, we have the one approved, it's from the minutes from before, from last year, but if I could have a motion to purchase up to 3 more tables, I just get to 2 for now, but if the other guy actually takes the site, then I would be looking to get
So
3 more.
moved.
Thank
So
you,
moved.
Jack.
I'll second.
Thank you, Fred. Is there any further discussion on that?
I just wanted to kind of add to it a little bit. I still have all the fire buckets to be distributed to each site. I didn't know if you wanted to try to label those fire buckets for each site to make sure they're numbered, or
Oh, the numbers, yeah.
Can you brand them?
I can give it a try.
potentially maybe the lids or something like that. They do all have tether ropes and to tether them to a tree or something. I didn't know if maybe you wanted to tether them to the picnic table and then tether all that to something. Maybe just make like a little kit, you know, with a picnic table and a fire bucket, you know, somewhere in proximity of the fire ring, or I hope in the next week or so to transport those up to the park then. So
Okay. Well, my idea is to brand the 2 tables at the Bordner Cabin
sure.
so that they know at the park that they are ours, or not the parks. So, I mean, if anything would ever happen there, we can bring them back to our park. Yeah, does that make sense? But
Yeah.
anyhow, once I get those 2 branded, my idea is to store the kit in the office at the Watershed Park. I'll find a high place because I know if the water comes up, it has gone in there already, maybe up on one of the higher shelves or something. But I'll try and keep the original box so it's pretty obvious what it is. And then that way the branding iron and the acetylene kits or the propane kits are right there that you can use them to brand things. Because I figured, it was an investment, but on the other hand, something we should have done a long time ago.
Yeah.
Fred.
Again, on the kits, if there's not room in the office, I can easily store those kits in my warehouse.
Well, I'm not going to put the tables in there.
Right, I understand that. But if the kits for the tables make it too full up in the office, just let me know and I can store them until they're needed to be put together and taken out to the park.
Okay. Okay. So if they're not going to put them together, you'll take them to your warehouse to assemble them and then take them out.
Or just, take the kits out. It'd be easier to transport them as kits instead of finished tables.
Okay. All right. Well, let me contact the 3 that we know we need tables and ask them if they would like to assemble them, and we'll go from there. And but the branding iron will be in the office for, like, you can experiment with the plastic things and see if that'll work. Did I call for the vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, then oh yes. So I also purchased I have a bill for Gavin. Obviously, I just don't have it totaled yet. I'm sorry. I've been too busy actually doing, because we had some nice days and I had some free time. But I actually purchased yellow cow tags and little washers. So Bethany, on Day of Caring, I went through and with white paint actually tried to paint the numbers, but that'll disappear with the weather. So putting the yellow cow tags on with washers so that they don't snap off and things is important. And Bethany, if she has a crew there, is going to have people helping to put those on the trees. And I tried to get the tree closest to the road in each campsite. Some of them are back, 30 to 50 feet, and some are like within 10 feet. So you have to look front and back. But if you're walking, you'll kind of get the pace of it, and then you'll know, oh, I should look for a marking. So that was done. Of course, they have to pick up sticks. And Bethany and I mounted 2 of the fish out of water for our arts display out there. One, we put the smaller one on the front of the office. It's just color, and it's kind of a, I'll make a little plaque that goes with it. But then the one that I painted, we put up, I think it was a bass, and on one side of the eave, and there's 3 more, so we can put one on the other side of the eave and then 2 on the far end on the eaves. Just something for people to look at and strike up a conversation, that sort of thing. And I bought them from the Arts Council last year on a bid, and I thought it would add to the park and give it another dimension to show that we really care, and that they are native fish, by the way, bass, trouts, things like that. Anyhow, wanted to let you know that started, and again, she might not, I don't know, if she has 30 people, she can put them all to work. Let's put it that way. We gave her enough projects to work with, and if not, then we'll have to go out and help finish up. How's that? The toilet came, and I told them under the tree, and there's a nice area where Tom actually had stoned it. They put it right in the mud, so the first time we went out, we had to walk through the mud to get in there, and the floor got muddy, but they cleaned it. But again, Bethany's going to try and get them to move the toilet over onto the stone. I put a white X. To me, it was obvious, but I thought, well, if they didn't see it, so that way they know where it goes.
Yeah, I tried to move it yesterday, but they have it staked down, so I have to go.
Oh, do they?
Yeah,
Ah,
it's just a metal pole through the one corner of it. I mean, I don't. If it floats, it's not staying on that stake, but at least if it's a
they
low
made the
flood,
effort.
right?
Yeah.
So
All right. So at any rate, we did get the toilet early because we had the tree planting and then the United Way, and I've been out working, and believe me, when I go out, I use it. So it's been used this month. We had a lot of activity, and so we did get it a month early. So I hope that's okay with everybody.
it was definitely well appreciated at the planting. So
yeah, we had, the kids were great. Annville, Cleona, Cedar Crest. There was a scout troop, and then there was like, I think maybe 4 master gardeners, something like that, besides Bethany.
me, Mike, and I think 4 or 5 others. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had like 2 from this one and 2 from that group and 2 from here and 2 from there. It was great. Everybody just worked together. And then Pete Sildorf showed up. I had sent an email. Well, he's kind of a last minute kind of guy, but he's a hard worker for his, I think he's close to 80, if not 80. He's a hard worker.
He's 10 years older than I am, because he graduated from Lebanon High School in 1954. I graduated in 64. So I'm 75. So he's about 85.
Really?
Wow.
I didn't know he was that old. I was thinking 80-ish, but 85.
All that bicycling must count for something.
Wow. Well, when he gets the mood to do something, he does it. And he's one of our watershed stewards up at the cabin. Oh, and I forgot to say that. Pete, Elaine Ludwig, and the Conservation District are still willing to be watershed stewards, and I'll try and recruit some more. Of course, I do a month, but if each of us might have to do 3 months this year, unless we get more watershed stewards. But the point is, if I got all 12 months covered, I would need 12 shirts. And it's a long time ago, but we approved making a purchase of the volunteer shirts. A, I want to know if it's okay to still get them. And B, did any of you want one? Because if you go up there and you're working, you deserve one too. This would come out of the treasury. It's something, because we've raised money for the cabin. And okay, Jack. And who seconded it?
I'll second.
I'll second.
Mike. Okay, Jack and Mike.
Or Mike.
And who all wants a shirt? Don't be bashful. Jack? Okay.
I'll take one.
Okay, Bethany?
Suppose I'll jump on board with that.
Well,
Mike?
Might as well. We're up
as long
there.
as you're getting them, I'll take one too. I'll take a large.
Oh, that's a good point. What size, Mike?
Probably a medium.
Bethany?
I'll take an extra large.
That's what I get. Jack?
Yeah, they tend to run a little small.
Medium for the last 50 years.
If I were you, I would get a large, because oftentimes they tend to run a little on the small side.
All right, I guess I'll get a large based off Fred's
Are you sure, Mike?
I'm listening to Fred on this.
You're
one.
a trim fellow.
Pretty good.
Likes to show his guns.
Because
right.
you're at least as large as I am, actually a little larger.
Oh.
Oh, I don't know. He's pretty trim. But at any rate, okay, everybody will get a board.
I'm long. That's
Yeah.
I don't want a belly shirt here.
Okay, I will order about at least a dozen Bordner Cabin shirts. I'm a volunteer, so when we go up there, we can wear our shirts, and people, it says "Ask Me" on it. I sent pictures on the email, but I thought, when we're up there, we should wear them so people know that we are official there, and plus the others that are still on board, and we'll try and get a few more. So I'll get a little supply, nothing big, just a couple on hand so we can cover all 12 months, okay? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Motion carries. On the Sip and Stroll, we are working our way towards making that happen. And with the pandemic, again, if there's no wrenches, we could have everybody vaccinated June or July. and we set this up for September. Some wanted to go to October, but the days get shorter and shorter. We have to think about that. So
Mhm.
September, I think it doesn't get dark till after 6 yet, something like that. So I put
Yeah.
sunrise, 11 o'clock till sunset, whatever it is, it is. But the 4 breweries in Lebanon County have agreed to participate. 3 of them answered the questionnaire on SurveyMonkey. The 4th one didn't. But when I sent out the request, Rotunda Brothers or Brewery sent their $100 back. The others haven't. So, but I think it's a go. Okay. And then 6 tickets have been sold already. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's way out in October. 6 tickets sold already. And I created a Facebook event, of course, the brochure. And there's interest on Facebook of people wanting to come. Now, as it gets closer and closer, more people will buy tickets. But I just wanted to keep you on board. I sent food trucks invitations. I haven't got an affirmative from any of them yet, but there's going to be a food truck thing out at the Waterworks Fire Company. I want to say April 10th. It's this Saturday, I guess, from like, I don't know if it's 11 to 2 or 10 to 2, something like that. So after or in between the lawn mowing class, I'd like to get out there and take along some of our brochures and hand them to the truck vendors. And especially, I'm trying to get local people. I'm not trying to bring them in from other areas. If I can find local people that want to be a part of our, and the thing is, I say no guarantee, but it looks like there's interest. But I put that down because it's a donation, A, and there's no refunds. And B, it could turn out really well the first year, or the first year people might hold back. But the people that get in first will reserve their spot if they want to come next year. That's how we do the campers, and that's how I would do this too. If they were good enough to come the first year, I think that they deserve priority when it becomes a really popular event. So any questions on that?
That's something that I was thinking once we get closer for ticket sales and stuff, whether that's something we want to promote on Facebook or something like that too, pay a few bucks to promote the posts or whatever to get more interest and more local people in the area know about it.
I think you have a very good idea there. What I've done, I've learned to work smarter and save the bucks where I can. To kick it off, what I did was I shared it with Kayaking PA, Pennsylvania Kayaking, all those there's like 3 or 4 different kayaking groups, because I'm thinking they might have an interest in supporting us. So maybe they won't, but I know Joni said, well, can we help you organize one without alcohol? And I'm thinking, well, we're putting a lot of time and effort into trying to get this one off the ground. I mean, it sounds like a good idea, but she wants to help with the second one. But I'd like to get one under the belt, and then if we want to expand it to something else, that's fine to try.
We could think about that for the next year. Get one successful one under our belt post COVID, and then think about having the other program as well next year if it works well.
Bingo, Jack. Those are my thoughts exactly. So at any rate, it's moving along, and I'm just taking baby steps and feeling my way through it, because I've went on different pages and saw how others did it and tried to pick the best of a bunch of different ones and put it all into our application. So that's where we are on that. Those are the things I had down, and I know I probably forgot things. So let's go round robin. Oh, by the way, just for your information, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people have paid for their campsite so far. And I have one other one that put it in my Team Litz account. I said, that's not where it goes. It goes in the Swatara Watershed. And the link's right on the lease, So I had to refund that to her last night, and I'm waiting for her. I have to check to see if she sent it in again. That was Canodes in 34. So I'm pretty sure they're going to be paying. She did give me a copy of her lease, but I hadn't received the payment. Then she sent me a copy of her receipt. I said, that's not the Swatara Watershed account. So I'm trying to get that straightened out. And Marty Speck also gave me a lease, but no payment. So we have 10 paid, 2 more in process, so to speak. And 4 of those are new people. So I just think that's amazing. And if all the rest come back, we're going to have a full campsite. But they're excited. 2 of the tickets that were sold were 2 campers, and the others are talking, well, do we have to pay today? I said, no, you have time. As long as it's paid before the day of the event, you can get the $25, and the day of the event will make it $30. And so as we go on, we'll have to talk about where to stage people. I'll do up a design and work with Bethany and where to park people. And I counted the cars there when we planted trees, and there were about 50 between, you know, there in front of the office and then over in the parking area. We had about 50 cars. Well, obviously we had 50 people, but it was close to 50 cars too, because I think others came. I don't know. But at any rate, so Bethany, I'll work with you on a design, and Mike, if you don't mind, and we'll come up with a proposal to share at a future meeting on where everything should go. And let's do a round robin, see what I'm missing and what's on your minds. Bethany, would you start?
The only thing I have going on is I talked to Tom Kiefer at Jonestown municipal or borough office about tree planting there for the fall, and the borough council has approved 2 sites in Jonestown. One is right across, is a wetland area. It's right across the street from the launch there on in Jonestown. And then the other one is right at the borough building itself. There's a small stream that drains down to the Swati from there. And so we are, I'm going to be going out there this week to try to get a better handle on the exact size of the area, so we can get trees and do a planting this fall. And he is working, already getting volunteers. He's working with the one church in Jonestown to get volunteers, and they're actually going to help maintain the plantings once they're done. So he's doing a great job as far as that goes. So
fantastic.
Yeah, I'm
amazing.
very happy with it.
So amazing. Okay, thank you. Fred, anything else?
On the Day of Caring, what's the date of that again?
17th.
17th.
So thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I noticed when we were out there for the tree planting, there are a lot of sticks and twigs lying around all over every place.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking of coming out there with my trailer, load up all those sticks and twigs, and take them to that one stone parking lot that where, you know, like where the campers move their trailers to in case there's a flood, you know, it's right there in front of the shed, that parking area there. Right when you come in the gate.
Why would we put them on the parking lot, Fred, instead of to mulch?
Well, what I'm getting at is I want to make a brush pile and then burn them there if you think that's an okay idea. But that parking area is stone underneath, which would not allow, you know, anything to catch on fire. Now, if it's too windy or something like that, then no.
We normally put them on a pile back in the middle somewhere that they can decay naturally. Burning would be good if they're covered with spotted lanternflies, but otherwise, I think a natural decay process would actually be beneficial, don't you think?
Well, if that's what you would prefer, but I would, on that Day of Caring, that's what I plan on doing out there, is picking up all those sticks and twigs and either put them in a brush pile way off to the side where they can, you know, decay on their own. But there was an awful lot of sticks and twigs from those sycamore trees and others all around the park. I noticed when we were planting the trees there.
Yeah, Fred.
Yes.
If I recommend, Bethany and I were trying to kind of control the campers and where they can and can't go with when we took down trees and stuff. We were picking up pieces and putting them in places.
We'll put them in that circle.
If you go to the very far, as you come into the park and you make a left and go to that turnaround in the far back, On the left-hand side there's kind of like a spot now that you could have driven into the farmer's field through the woods there. We put a big giant tree across that way so that they couldn't drive out into the farmer's field. If you want to just add to that pile right there, that'd be a great spot off to the side.
Okay, so that would be down near the launch area there.
No, the
Opposite
opposite
end.
Oh, the opposite. Oh,
west
way at
end.
the upper end. Okay, I know where you mean. Yeah, I could take them up there and make
Perfect.
a big brush
Yeah.
pile up there to sort of block that off. Yeah.
Yeah,
If we need to move anything around too, I have the machine that with the grapple on it that we can, if we have a big pile, I can come up, grab them and move them wherever we want to. If
Yeah, well, they still
that's
need to be
necessary.
collected.
they do,
first.
no, definitely. They need to be put in piles and and collected for sure.
Well, that's what I was planning to do, is pick up all those sticks and twigs that are scattered
Right.
all over the place, all over the park there, because a lot of them are in areas that we mow. And
Mhm.
Tom has always said that mower has this idiosyncrasy that if a branch gets up underneath there, then a belt slips off the pulley. And then you got to stop mowing and put that back on.
Okay.
Thank you, Fred. That's very generous. We have 3 minutes left, so Mike, I want to give you a chance.
I just wanted to say I'm working on my list. I'm working on getting those buckets back up there. And then I guess, Bethany, if you want to meet kind of sidebar to try to talk about potentially taking out those 2 trees at the head of the park that are kind of blocking the water trail, come up with
Yeah.
a plan for that. We'll try to execute that in the next couple weeks here.
Sounds good.
Okay. And Jack, how about you?
Day of caring. I've got my thumb out if anybody wants to give me a ride to
I'm
one
going
of the
to,
sites.
are you going to the Bordner Cabin with me?
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
All right.
What
I
time
think
do you want
Elaine
me
is
out?
coming.
What
and if
time do you want me out at your place?
8 o'clock?
8 o'clock, okay. That's 17th, did you say?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I think we have like just a teeny bit of time left. Is there anything else anyone has to say for the good of the order?
The one other thing with when we were talking about blocking areas with our new meted, swath going through, I think about putting a couple stumps that couldn't be moved by hand or something, but right at that where it comes right off of the road going towards the launch, because that just looks like, open.
It's okay to walk it,
invite-
but you don't want four-wheelers back there.
Right. It looks like a nice inviting thing for people to drive back through. So I think if we can move a couple stumps laying around and just put there, that would be easily moved if Meted needs to get back in there or whatever, but that would keep vehicles from getting back through.
I
There
can
are
tell
a
you, I
couple of-
registered about 5 campers on Saturday. They noticed that trail.
It's big.
Well, there are a couple of large stumps from trees that have been cut down that I could bring the chainsaw out and cut the stumps like flush to the ground, and then those stumps could be used to put where you're talking about.
That would work.
Okay. Well, I think we did a good job of getting it done in 2 sessions, and we have a minute left. And I just want to say thank you all. You are doing so much for the county, for the environment, for people's mental health, just being able to get outdoors. You are all heroes, and if no one has said that to you before, you deserve to hear it and know it. You're doing good work, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Take care, John.
Have a great day.
Thanks to you
Yep.
too.
Bye-bye.